My name is Jeff Hawkins. I'm on the Evening Social podcast. Check out my episode next.
Tonight's episode is brought to you in part by Jegna Klub TV and Wilson's Pizza and Grill.
First things first, don't forget the coach, then comes Mo.
And I'm the girl Janae, as you.
And we are happy to say our DJ is back with us today. So we cannot forget DJ being with us. Right? Man, we did. I was in the mountains, man. I see you in the mountains. I see the truck the whole night. Yeah. Bye, ready to go. Refresh. Well, welcome to the Evening Social Podcast. Tonight is very, very special. I have a guest here that is dear to my heart, and then he brought someone here that I look up to as one of the greatest women in Wyandotte County that I've ever met. So I'm a little emotional this evening. This has been a long time coming. So bear with me a little bit as I get to this, because my excitement may take over a little bit. All right. So the Jegna Klub's vision is to build a community of individuals with the entrepreneurial mindset that are economically independent and operate in harmony.
The Evening Social Podcast is a platform that provides an opportunity to highlight and introduce new career fields, choices, and pathways to students and their families.
It also helps mirror to our youth the struggles and the obstacles that others endured on their pathway to becoming who they are, their pathway to positive success. And tonight, our guest exudes that. He is from Wyandotte County, so Dot Boy's in the house.
Wyandotte.
Yes, sir. He is a Sumner Academy graduate. All right. He is a two-time basketball state champion. He is a NCAA Division I National Men's Basketball Champion. Rock Chop J-Hawk. So yes, he is a graduate of the University of Kansas. Make sure I said the University of Kansas. Also, he is the current boys basketball coach at Pembroke Hill School. I can't forget that he is a son, a brother, a husband, a father. I still get chills when I replay that Walking July. And then, and you been no face for game. I still get chills with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the honorable, the man, my friend, the legendary Jeff Hawkins.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to, thank Mo for having me on. I've looked up to Mo. When I was a young kid, probably bumping my head on walls, trying to figure things out. Mo was always there, just as a mentor, as a coach, and I just want to thank you for that, because, I feel like, where I'm at today in life, it all built up from all the mentors that I had in my life, and you were one of those guys and had an impact on my life, so I definitely want to thank you for that and for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, thank you. That means a lot coming from you. I tell people, man, relationships for me, it's one of the biggest commodities. Time is the biggest, and relationship is the second. And I'm happy to have been able to blessed to be a part of some people's lives that made me be a better person, man, father. I appreciate that too. I gotta say this too.
Oxygen.
It's real. It is. It goes way back, man. This goes way back. You know what I mean? I'm gonna touch on it, but it goes way back. I was young myself, fresh coming back, and I wasn't too much older.
You was school coach.
Yeah. But it was always respect, love, and they worked very hard. So I always appreciate that. And he brought today Miss Alijah Hawkins, his mother. Please give her some oxygen. She's done so many wonderful things in our our community, for our community with education, and her sons, her family, and they've done much in our community. So I want to make sure that we did that. I was so hoping she came today, so I could see her.
I'm gonna pick her up, make sure she got here.
Man, I'm glad. Okay, I'm glad. So, still hold to the definition of the word Jegna. Jegna is an Ethiopian Aramaic word, and part of that definition means not afraid to speak truth to power. Another part, which I'm excited about, means a person who it keeps the culture. A person who is not afraid to speak up for their community and even put their life in jeopardy on the line for their community. And I think that's so much with today because you and your family have done that for so many years. So it's an honor to have you here when we're speaking about that. And just to remember that our conversation today is going to seem like it's with me and you. But it ain't about me and you. It's about those who come before us, those who come after us. We're going to honor those who helped us get here. And then we're going to pull up those who are coming after us. All right. So if we were to ask you, what is your profession? What would you say?
That's a good question. To me, I would say my profession, if I'd ask, and I haven't been, prepped on this, I would feel my profession is to impact kids' life. And I say that because of probably as a young kid, my mom probably knows that I was like, can I have a younger brother? Can I have a younger brother? I always wanted a younger brother. And I think because I've always wanted a younger brother, I was always gravitated towards the younger generation that were younger than me and always wanted to find a way to help them out. And I've been kind of blessed throughout my whole path of life. I had some really great mentors that looked after me. And they today look at me as if I'm a kid, although I'm a grown man with kids, but they look at me as a kid and kind of feel like that's kind of my calling, my nature, my profession is find a way to impact kids' lives and help them move forward.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
different avenues.
yeah. So, we always want our youth, our community to, I always say that I worked in schools for years, and sometimes our youth have to humanize us. They see us as, these adults that, never. I had one kid tell me one time, you don't live here? Like at the school, and I'm like, no, I don't live here. They just think you're always there. So we always want to humanize, So we're going to ask you a couple questions that I couldn't know the answer to. But we want to make sure they know the answer.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So are you married?
Yes.
Okay.
Been married for 11 years now. See, I took a deep breath to make sure I get the year.
Yeah.
11 years now.
Yeah, but she's listening.
Yeah,
okay.
11 years now, so I don't know if you want me to elaborate more.
Yeah.
So we met in college at KU. Met her freshman year. We just kind of, before we even got involved, we were kind of best friends. So we were study buddies, we were best friends, and then at the time I was dating someone, and then she kind of got out the way, and then it was just kind of destined for us to come together because we were always kind of hanging out together. So that's my wife. We have 3 kids, 5, 10, 15. That's pretty easy for me to remember right now. So yes, I'm married.
Okay.
That's a nice listen. Wait, what are the kids?
5, 10, 15. Yeah.
Boys, girls?
So boy, girl, boy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when it starts getting 5, 10, 15 is always easy for me to say now, but before I'm always thinking the years, but 5, 10 is easy. Next year will be 6, 11, and 16, and I won't try to do that.
Yeah. Man, so I got so many questions, man. I'm going to ask you, we're going to get to the family part of it, because I think that is important for our community. So we're going to get back to that. But now we're going to go to one of my favorite segments. This segment is brought to you by Drip Ultra Pure Water. That's that water that you're drinking. That's brought to you, yes, man. That's brought to you by Hometown. Everything you see here is all hometown. It is from, I'm going to say Kansas City, but most of it is from Kansas City, Kansas. We have a few from Kansas City, Missouri. So it's all homegrown Kansas City thing.
That's awesome.
Drip Ultra Pure is David Jordan. Water from him, spring water, good.
Okay.
Shout out to all the partners.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he They're a sponsor of our icebreaker fun question segment. So we're not going to fun with you.
All right, let's get
Real
it.
quick for a minute. Okay.
There we go.
Now, I do got to just make you aware. There's somebody in the caption. Okay.
Yeah, that's all
And
right.
I'm not going to say who it is. Just let you know.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
time
There
for
we go. So, let me see. Let me start with this one. So, you were given a sloth. You can't get rid of it. What do you do?
A sloth.
Yeah, you give it a sloth. You know, the thing hanging in the tree. And yeah. You give it one and you can't get rid of it?
Okay, so wow.
What would you do?
I don't know, man. I'd probably set them up with in today's world, probably set them up with an Instagram account. See if we can find a way to get him to make some money, because I know he's just going to cost, I'm just going to be pushing money out for him, or her. So just try to find a way to get it to make some money. So create an Instagram account, try to see if we can get 1 million followers, try to get some sponsors involved, and try to make a little money out of it.
I like that. Okay.
Why would you give me a sloth?
You said I can't give it away, so
Yeah,
you might as well find a way to make some money.
Okay, I like that.
Because I'm thinking I'm going to give it
Zoo
away.
auditions or something. We got to set up that zoo or something.
Okay, I love it. Okay.
Okay. Which instrument would you play if you were in a rock band?
I need that guitar. I'm trying to smash that down.
Are you
Yeah, give me another one, yeah.
Okay.
New one every shot. Smash that next one.
Okay. All right. Oh. If your life had a theme song, what would it be?
Probably Jefferson's.
Moving on.
Wait, why? Why that?
Because, not to, like I say this like confidently with like not being arrogant, but I just feel like in my life it's my job to continue to move up. I wear this bracelet right here that I got at the coaching's conventions, be better, be different. So, and even when I'm coaching the kids, my biggest thing is be better today than you were yesterday. So I feel like that would be my theme song, because just moving on up, you just you keep elevating. So I think that was the one that stuck out.
Like that.
That's good. You're doing good.
I'm trying to get me though. I'm trying to get me.
I told you somebody. Somebody, it's not me. It's not me. Oh, okay, let's see. If you could interview a person from history, who would you choose?
Probably Martin Luther King. I go to Martin Luther King just because, just what he's done. His name is, still hot today, and, just for what he's, I feel like he paved the way for me to be sitting right here talking to you in this audience. So I'd love to pick his brain and, figure out, how he moved, how he thinks, and try to, implement that into my life, because he's not alive now. So all I can do is, look back into history from what he's done, and try to put little pieces of what he's done into my life, and try to be better. So Martin Luther King would be the guy that I'm going for right out the gate.
Do you have one particular question that you would ask?
I don't. But if I had a question, it would probably be around the area of just perseverance, and his character was so high, to be able to take the brutal punishment that he did and still be able to get up the next day and say, I'm gonna do it again. When you talk about your life being on the line, like his life was on the line every day he spoke, and he still got up and didn't think about himself, but he thought about others. And so my question would probably evolve somewhere around there. I don't have the question because I know that it will never happen, but that's a great question. But it would if I had one question that would surround that, and I would really put my thoughts together on trying to find the right question that would kind of give me the best answer to help my life move forward.
That's good, because that's what I was thinking, something along those lines. To keep going when you see very little progress.
And that's, to me, that's, it's a lost art for, especially probably in Wyandotte County. And I just feel like I was blessed to get out. I had great mentors, but, there's a lot of kids that sometimes they just might not know the way as far as, what you need to do to persevere, and or just may not be watching the right people. And I just think that's just, it's a missing art, and not just the kids here, just in life in general. I think a lot of people struggle with, how to, when you get punched in the face or you get knocked down, what thoughts go to your head to make you want to get back up and try to get it, even if you get knocked down again and it hurts just as much. Like, what's going to give you that willpower to get up? So
we got a couple more real quick. I got to ask you this. What comes to mind when I say guardian angels?
Big smiles and nothing but basketballs, dribbling some of the greatest guys in this area to play the game of basketball. I don't know the eras. I know from I would say from the 90s. I don't know. To I don't know how much is getting used now, but some of the best basketball players were in Guardian Angels playing. I mean, some of the best runs I've ever had, whether it's older kids or younger kids. I mean, everybody. If you play basketball and you're serious in this area, Kansas City, Missouri, you don't know what Guardian Angels is, I just don't think you can count yourself as a trooper.
I get you.
What's me? Is that me?
I mean, you asked like 5 questions in one, and then you
First of all,
say the black say
he gave answers that
and
needed
you asked 5 questions. You just
elaborate.
ask a question, I'm saying
Well, I tell you, hate this one. Whatever. Okay, which planet would you visit if you could go to any one of them?
I don't know, for some reason, like, the only one that's like keeps popping in my head is Pluto. But I know that's like the first one.
That's what's popping in my head.
I'm like, I don't know, I want to be able to travel to the farthest, because you can get to the farthest, like getting to the other planet's gonna be, that's gonna be doable. So, but that would, maybe Pluto. I don't know, maybe because it's something tied to a Disney character. I don't know that Pluto's just sticking out, but Pluto is the first one. Saturn would be cool too. Saturn would be cool.
Rings.
With the rings.
Yeah.
Want to see the rings.
No, for real, I see that ring around there. I'm going to Saturn, Mars, man. I want to play some golf at Saturn.
Man, can we slide on the rings?
We slide on the rings, yeah. Skate on the rings.
That's what I was thinking.
Skating.
Pluto was my first two, and then I was thinking Saturn, because I be going out roller skate off.
Ben be up there at Saturn on the DJ. I can see that.
Couple more, Jeff, and then we're going to move on. I've been asking this to certain of our guests. Wyandotte County is coming up with a 50 greatest players list. Give me 5 or 6 names that you know should be on that list. Now, disclaimer is I'm only asking for 5 or 6. I'm not asking for any order. There's going to be a whole lot of people left out, so nobody can say that. But I'm asking you to come up with 5 or 6 that you know should be on that list. In the greatest 50.
Yeah.
Wyandotte County, greatest 50.
Calvin Pony,
Okay.
Earl Watson,
Okay.
Jabba,
Okay.
Ralph Buchanan. Larry Drew for me too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Larry Drew and Chris Wayne. That's 6.
Okay, that's 6. There we go. All right. Appreciate it. That's a good group. That's a good group. Okay.
There was no order in that. You
No,
said
it's no order.
I got a whole, Wyandotte got a whole other list too.
Yeah, it's more people. There's no order. It's just the first off top, and nobody, you didn't know I was going to ask you.
First of all, I cannot wait to see this whole list compiled of what we heard on this couch. I need to things have you crossed off your bucket list?
You know what? Probably sadly to say none, because I've never created a bucket list, and I've been saying like, I gotta create a bucket list. You know, just so I really don't have a bucket list as far as what bucket list is like traveling or like goals or like what kind of bucket list you're talking about, like
Things you want to do.
Things you want to
just
accomplish.
like you want to accomplish.
Things you wanna
Okay, I
do.
thought it was just like, okay, so like, yes, I've checked off, like, I guess I haven't like written out it's my bucket list, but I have like, goals professionally. I have goals, that I want to do for fun. Like I have a bucket list, golf course. I love golfing now, so it's a bucket list of golf courses that I want to go to. It's a bucket list of vacation.
I just seen you on one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So like family vacation. So yeah, I know. Tiger Hood. Lion Forest. That's what I call myself. Lion Forest.
Okay.
Tiger Woods. I call myself Lion Forest.
Okay. I like Lion Force. Lion Force. Okay.
So I mean, I've checked things off my bucket list. Like even professionally, I have goals that I want to be here. I want to advance. So yes, but I don't like. I guess.
Nothing formal.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not like yes.
Just out here living your best life. Alright.
Last question, these fun questions. All right. You think about it. You've done a lot in our city. You've done a lot with basketball. If I were to ask you, Jeff Hawkins, how do you want to be remembered? What would you say?
To me, simple. A guy that cared for others more than himself. It's pretty simple.
Good. Okay. So,
Like, had some accolades, and to me, that really doesn't matter. I just want to be remembered for somebody that shows that he cares for others more than himself. Like, that's how I live my life. That's how I try to live my life every day. And that's how I try to teach people to live their lives. And that's why I gravitate to people that care for others more than they care for themselves. And I've been blessed to have great mentors to teach me that way. And I've been in great organizations where, like, that was the only way. If you didn't do it that way, you had to get out. So you learn how to put others before yourself. So that's the way I want to be remembered.
good. Well, I would say that goes in line with, the first teachers you had. I would say it goes in line with the last name.
Yeah.
I would say that goes in line with that.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that. So,
And again, haven't got a chance, but my mom, obviously, like, still to this day, I might get choked up, but still to this day, she supports everything that I do.
yeah.
And it's just it's a blessing to have that. And her and my father, they've taught me everything to live my life the way I need to associate myself with people that are smarter than me. That was the biggest thing. Associate yourself with people that are smarter than you, so you can learn. And I feel like that's all I've tried to do. And it's because of my mom and my dad.
I love it, man. Appreciate it. We're going to take a break real quick. You know what I'm saying? We'll take a break, and then we're going to come back with a live stream set. More with Jeff Hawkins. But we also going to have a performance by the wonderful and the lovely Nyil'a.
The Jegna Club is connecting the dots with TCM Media to bring you the Evening Social Podcast. Tonight's episode was brought to you in part by Wilson's Pizza and Grill and Jegna Club TV. Our Facebook Live broadcast was brought to you in part by New Wall Street. Our musical guests are brought to you in part by Henderson Entertainment. Our live audience giveaways are brought to you in part by The Royals. Our venue partner is the Elegant 1739 Gallery. Our clothing partners are Truth, The Reason, and Brainiac 91. Our beverage partners are Drip Ultra Pure Water and Sweeties Teas.
Alright, what's happening, good people? As always, you're in for a treat tonight, and welcome. We're happy that you are here to vibe with us and play a part in keeping the culture here on the Evening Social Podcast. Facebook live stream segment. This is brought to you by New Wall Street, an investment education community. Can't forget our partners, so I gotta run them down real quick. We have our episode partner, which is Wilson's Pizza and Grill. We have our venue, the elegant 1739 Gallery. We have some of our brand partners. You know, I'm rolling with the truth, but I gotta say something. I'm out the vault with the truth this week, so this ain't out yet. You know what I'm saying? This ain't out yet. So, you know, they ain't came out with this one yet. They ain't come out with this one yet. So if you like it, you see what I'm saying? If you like this one, go ahead and hit the comments up. Like, shoot the comments up and tell the truth you want to come out. You know what I'm saying? Raj, love you, brother. Appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? And we got, you know what I'm saying, Brainiac 91. You know what I'm saying?
No, this one new too.
Yeah.
I had on lavender last week.
That's a new one.
Cool.
This one out the vault. It ain't came out yet. You see what I'm saying? Okay. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? This is something just like that exclusive thing here that you can't get unless you go with 10.
I thought we was leaving love.
This is love. It's all love. Okay, bring it in. Love. See what I'm saying? Love. Alright. Then we also have Drip Ultra Pure Water and Sweeties Teas. We can't forget our brother from, you know what I'm saying, Dot Boys in the house still. Can't forget him with Sleek Vodka. You know what I'm saying? And we can't forget my brother from the other side, you know what I'm saying, with Confidence 71. Brandocious, my guy. I cannot forget Henderson Entertainment, Tom Henderson, for being our in-part sponsor for our musical guests. So cannot forget Henderson Entertainment. Also, we have our Evening Social Podcast giveaway, which is sponsored in part by the Royals, our KC Royals. You have a chance to win 4 Royals tickets and a parking pass. There you go.
Parking pass.
Yeah, parking pass. Yeah. Then also, Heartland 180, my guy, Max Mendoza,
What's up, Max?
donated some beautiful smelling candles that we have out there. So, we have several other things here. We appreciate that. Got to make sure that we get them in.
I love you guys.
You know, thank you so much for believing in us and being a part of this show this evening. And then, I can't forget, we got a new partnership. This one is a little, you know, this one a little to my heart because it's my little cousin. And it's PLG and Wavy Gear. You see that on there? So now we got that coming too.
That makes you want to do the
Catch the wave. That's what they say. Catch the wave. Yeah, there we go. All right. So I am, first things first, don't forget the coach, then comes Mo.
And I'm your real Janae.
And we cannot forget, go DJ or DJ. Being rich.
We got to slow clap you in here.
Ah, man, I got to get him in there because, you know, Ben is, I'm just saying, Ben is, and I'm not down in no other DJ. And yes, he is my favorite, you know, but, you know, because of ties. But Ben is the only DJ I know that can pull it right out as soon as you see it. You see what I'm saying? You say something, he'll have it out there. Jefferson's, he got it. Man, listen to me, the stick talk.
Then he followed up with my nice song there, like right after that with Big.
That's what I'm saying. That's being rich. You know what I'm saying?
You have to come down and be in the building to hear DJ Being Rich mix it up, though, man. The vibe is different when you in the building. I know y'all get a lot of it, but everything that Big be doing out there, we can't do live stream, so you gotta be down here.
Yeah, you got to. So follow my guy on Instagram. It's at DJ Being Rich. Follow him and catch his mixes out. Unbelievable. Man, I'm still listening to the last one he sent. I'm still listening to it. So catch him out. Now, we are here with our guest, the honorable, my guy, you know what I'm saying, the legend, Jeff Hawkins. All right?
Why does that sound weird?
I don't know, because you was on something else. Now this is the part. See, if you always trying to cut in on my parts. Now this is the part. You know, we appreciate everyone for being here in the audience. Jeff, our platform is a platform to where we call, we're not knocking nobody else, but we give oxygen, not flowers. We're not knocking on anyone else. What we want to do is we want to breathe life into the people that come here. We want to honor them for what they've done. We want to give them, their big ups. But at the same time, we want to be a breath of life for you to continue to go and make sure people understand it. So if you're here, please join me in giving Jeff his oxygen. Continue to do it, man.
Yeah, people don't see all the work that they do, all the admiration everybody has for them, and the impact that they have on the people's lives that they touch. So I love what they do.
But
Oxygen.
Yes.
this platform, why this is so special to me, and I think this platform, why this platform was started, is because every one of us had someone that we looked up to and we emulated. We wanted to be like or dress like. And I want to do that because you see this person. And I think it is for us and where we are, it is our responsibility to put in front of our next generation or the generations behind us, people who are thriving in a professional manner so they can see that. See, we had a few more people that we could look to and we could see professionally doing things. We got to put more of those people because those people do exist. There are people who are doing positive things professionally and are successful and are happy.
From
And that's,
a number of different backgrounds.
yes. So that's what it is, and it means even something more special when that person comes from your own backyard. When that person comes from where you from, that person look like you know what I mean? I don't always mean it gotta be the color of our skin. I just mean the person looks like the other person comes from where they come from.
Yeah.
That's what happens. This person has been in the trenches where we come from. So I think that's great. That's why it's an honor to have you here because you represent that. You sit there and set the bar for a lot of our young community members to understand that they can, succeed.
Yeah, well, again, thanks for having me on, and like I told you before, I wear this "be better, be different," and when I look back at my time from leaving Wyandotte, and it always sticks to me. I always feel like I could have done more, and because I know these kids need it, and it gets to me still to this day that I feel like I could have done more, but I know I'm definitely in a position now. And thank you for having me onto this podcast because I know this is definitely going to stream more fire into me to make sure that I can help and pull up that next guy because I've been very fortunate in my life, coming up on my 40th birthday here in November. So I've had so many guys gals and guys pick me up and show me the way. Don't go that way. Watch out for this. And I feel like it's my turn now to be able to give to the youth, and I'm kind of really excited that you had me on and for me to see what's going to happen next after this with you.
We're going to hit a real quick piece, and then we're going to get to another segment, this Speaking Truth to Power segment.
Yeah.
But I just got to hit something real quick. We know this, but I always got it on the live. I got to bring this back up. So, where were you born?
The dot.
Okay,
I'm going to say Wyandotte.
The dot. Okay, that's where you know you're from.
Yeah, the dot.
Okay, there we go. You're from the dot. Talk to me a little bit about just quickly. We're not running through a whole lot, all right? Because we already had some things. I don't want to get into an emotional.
Yeah.
All right, I don't. But I think it is a testament to who you are to talk about the relationships that you have.
Yeah.
And can you just talk just a little bit now that we're on live, a little bit about growing up the relationships that you had with your mom and dad and how that impacted you?
Yeah, obviously, growing up in the dot is, it can be challenging, for some kids. Okay, it doesn't have to be, kids with African Americans. It's a struggle regardless and whatnot. But a lot for us African American kids, and just to be able to have knowing what goes on in Wyandotte, and just to know that I was blessed to have two parents that not just two parents that were involved. They were involved whatever we wanted to do basketball-wise, sports-wise. They found a way. Whether they, my dad had holes in his shoes, it didn't matter. I'm gonna spend this money to help you guys. And then at the time I hated it, but I realized how much I was blessed to have my mom in education. Because she pushed us education-wise. We had to be, we had to keep our studies up, but we wasn't playing, and I hated it. Yeah. She'd probably tell you this, I hated it. But, going back, it's the same thing I'm teaching my kids. So, just to be able to have, two parents in the household, that makes a difference. And I felt like it was a cheat code for me to get to where I'm at, because some kids don't have two parents. Some kids do have two parents, and they're just not involved, or they have one parent. I mean, the grand scope of things that go on here. So, just to have, my parents in the mix of everything, and, still to this day, my mom is still in the mix. My dad passed away about 4 years ago, and he was still in the mix with grandkids, and she still shows up to my sons, all their events. So it's very impactful to have two parents in the household, but that doesn't happen. And I know that, and I feel there's a big void, there's a big gap, and I feel like I'm here for a reason. I feel like I can do things to close in that gap and help try to give kids an experience like I had, just by love. And that's all it was. It was just love.
I love that. I think one of the greatest things that I ever learned from your...
You said we weren't going to be deep in this. We about to be crying.
Yeah, but I get my tears back. You know what I'm saying? But I'm being honest. I learned so many lessons through those years of being at Sumner, man. I grew up. And I learned so many lessons, but one of the greatest lessons that I learned, and it was never even a conversation, it was never even anything silly. There was a lot of times conversations I had a lot of conversations with your dad, with your mom. Well, it never was a conversation that the greatest thing I loved, the greatest thing that I learned was they were present. Like, I thought they was on the coaching staff. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that that's how much they were present. Yeah. They weren't talking to the coach and arguing with the coach or saying, they were just present. They were supporting. They were there wherever we were. I don't care if the game was in Topeka, the game was in Salina, the game was wherever they were present. They were there supporting you. And that taught me, like, it don't matter what you say. That ain't what's important is what you do. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What's important is that look up there and know that you're there. Like, I really don't have to look because I know. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that gives you a certain confidence, that gives you a certain feeling, that gives you a certain, you know what I'm saying? Also, it gives you something, well, I better do this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I better get to that. So that was, I had to tell that, it's not about me, but I had to tell the greatest lesson that I ever learned that wasn't spoken to me to this day. And that's something that, I'm striving to do. Now, my son is in struggle, trying to make sure that, man, I'm present. Yeah. I gotta be.
It's important.
So,
it's important for that.
All right. So, let's move to one more question. Okay. Because I think this might be one of the most important things. So, when did Floyd stop whooping you in basketball?
Oh my God.
I didn't beat him until my freshman year in high school.
Okay.
He came back. This is when I'm like starting too.
Yeah,
so I'm like feeling myself. I can dunk now. But he came back over Christmas break. I'm talking about my mom knows, he never let me beat him. Like, so I'm crying, I want to kick the ball down the street. He didn't care, he just laughed. And then finally beat him. He came back my freshman year during Christmas break. And he came during school. Like, Springs would let us in the gym. He just let us hoop in the gym, whatever. So we were in there just playing during lunch. And he came in and I'm just like playing with some guys. And here he goes. It's like, oh, you've been kind of getting all this hype. You started varsity? Let's see. So he wanted to check up right then. I'm like, this is weird. So we ended up playing and, I was just a different player then. I was a
Yeah.
That was the last time he played me. And
Okay.
I beat him. So I beat him one time, and my record, I'm probably like 1 in 200. So yeah.
But the last one
Yeah.
was the one you won.
Yeah, the last one, he felt that last one.
Yeah, okay.
He felt that last one. Because he didn't want to play me no
Yeah,
more. He said,
it's
no.
over with.
Hey, you want to play again? Nuh-uh.
No.
There you go. I'll cheer you on, brother.
Okay, I had to ask that. You know what I'm saying? The battle between
Yeah, that story's never been. I've told some people that story like a select few, but like I've never really said it on a stage like this. So it's out there now.
Okay. Well, I asked that question because what a lot of people don't know is Floyd was the first Hawkins that everybody was coming to see and watching and go. And there's a lot of Floyd played great basketball. You know, so I say that also just for the relationship of brothers. I think that's great, you know what I'm saying, rivalry, relationship.
Yeah, you know, it's a shout out.
He supports too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shout out to my brother because it's at 1 in 276, and it could be 500. I don't know.
Yeah.
I won one game, and he never let me win. But like eventually, you know, he beat me, blow me out, I don't score any points, and eventually I score maybe 1 point. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Then it started getting closer until I finally beat him. But because of that, like he's 4 years older than me, and I'm playing him as hard as I can, and I start getting a steal, I get a stop. Now when I'm playing somebody my own age, I'm like, man, I'm playing my brother, and he's going. I mean, he's getting D1 looks, and I mean, I've grown up my whole life just playing against him. So my success for basketball is directly related to him, because without him, like, who pushes me? I'm playing against kids my own age, and you know, I might be good, but then like I could handle guys his age because I mean, to a certain degree, I might be able to get one stop at the but like as it grew and I got a little older, I could start, you know, playing guys older than me because of him. So he basically taught me how to play defense, and I was, you know, blessed enough to get a lot of shout outs from Coach Self for defense, and I took pride in defense, and it's because of him, because I just got my butt kicked so much, and I was like, well, now I know how to guard somebody as well, so I got to give him a shout out.
Good, I'm glad you did, and I think that's a testament to you being ready to come in as a freshman and being able to start. That was a testament.
How many siblings do you have?
Just one.
Just one. Just said all.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah.
You gotta say God at the end.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're gonna move to another segment. I wanted to get that out there, man.
Yeah.
I think, and you know, I love the family dynamic that you guys had. I wanted people to kind of see the relationship and what was taught, but then also what your brother, you know, meant to you athletically, you know what I'm saying, but then also the toughness and
I was like, mental endurance.
Yeah.
Perseverance.
Talk about getting knocked down and not worrying, you know, still standing up, and you know, I'm gonna face my opponent again, no matter if he knocks me down harder. You know, that's and man, if I really think about it, you know, he really mentally prepared me to, you know, continue to get better, and even if I get knocked down, stand up. Even if I would know that I'm gonna get beat the next game, but I'm like, let me try.
Because in your mind, you know it's coming. I mean, you believe wholeheartedly today could be the day.
For real. And really, in reality, it's like, man, he gonna be beating you for the next 10 years, dude. So, but that's
Hey, word is respect. I love it.
love it. All right, so we gonna see how she
That's my brother.
All right. So this next segment, real quick, we're gonna transition into this is our Speaking Truth to Power with Jabril Jegna segment.
Yes. What's so funny?
And I gotta say this is brought to you by Frankie at 91.
Misha, she looking for us. What's up? It's so funny because I always say confirmation. I prepared Truth to Power today, and it's stemming from love. And we mentioned that several times on the show today. And initially, I thought that it was gonna be specifically about love and the intense feeling of love, right? Versus infatuation.
Yeah.
lack of being willing to be vulnerable to the love that you have for somebody else. Being in love with somebody is the most vulnerable place that you can be. It's terrifying. It's terrifying to where it's kind of been stifling. But loving somebody is not weakness. It's not weakness. It's actually one of the most liberating things that you can ever experience if it's reciprocated. And so I hope that we can get to a place. Y'all know, speaking truth to power, I'm always in my feelings. Okay? I'm always in my feelings, man, because there's so much stuff that we gotta dig up. So I'm like, if you have anyone that you love, even if it's not a relationship, an intimate relationship and it's platonic, I say lean into it. Don't be scared of it. It's never something to regret, regardless of how it turned out. Love is always a good thing. We need to spread more of it. We need to embrace it. With one another, rebuild our households, do something better for our kids, show our kids some different love, joy in relationship.
I always think two things when I think of love. I think that love is courage and love is respect. Those are two things I really think it is. Because you have to have the courage to be vulnerable. Then you have to have the respect to make sure you respect the other person's vulnerability. You have to respect it. And this, as long as your parents were together, I know you always see respect. You know what I mean? That's the only way. My parents still together for 57 years, I was blessed to have two parents in the home. So I see it, but the one thing my dad always says is, man, you gotta have respect. You gotta respect. It's not, no relationship lasts without respect. What he says, no shit. Whether it's a relationship, partnership, what I'm saying? Shit doesn't last without respect. You gotta have respect. So I think, I love what you said, I always do, but I had to get my 2 cents on it. That I just really believe courage and respect, what I'm saying, is foundation.
Respect your own feelings too. What's the song I Learned to Respect Power of Love? That's
you
real.
said the song, I thought you was going to put some respect on my name. That's what I thought you was
That's
going to.
That's some God
That's
talk.
different. My bad. I went there. I'm sorry.
You gotta respect your own feelings in order to even people come from it. You know what I'm saying? Acknowledge it, respect it.
Yeah. And just to add on, when you talk about love, it's the easiest thing to do and it's the hardest thing to do at the same time. But when you love, when you love, it's just like you said, you're so vulnerable. You're putting yourself out there, but others respond to love. Like when you show, we talk about these kids that I was fortunate enough to go to the games, and I knew right where my mom liked to sit, no matter what. Although sometimes I may not look like I didn't want them to come to my game, but I was still looking over to see where they're at. And love, when these kids don't have parents in the household, they need somebody to show them that love. They need somebody where they can look over and see that they're in the stands. They can feel that love. And just, when we talk about love, that is Martin Luther King love. And he loved all. Even if they treated him like crap, he still loves you. And I told you guys, before, Martin Luther King that's one of the guys I wish I could interview. He's the guy that I look up to. I try to do a lot of studying with him. But when you talk about love, if everyone in this world could love like Martin Luther King, imagine what this world would look like today.
Man, we're going to move with that being said. We're going to think about that Martin Luther King. With that being said, we're going to move to our next segment before we have our break. Our next segment is brought to you by Sweeties Teas. And it is kind of our school years. We just talked about it. So, where'd you go to grade school?
Stony Point North. JFK for a little bit.
Okay.
Then I went to Stony Point.
Okay, JFK, Stony Point North. And then middle school,
Arrowhead.
Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then from Arrowhead, you went
I went to Sumner.
Yeah,
so
you went to Sumner
yeah,
in
Sumner 8th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know this.
They gotta know, right?
Yeah, they gotta know. So 8th grade. So we got a couple minutes before we hit our break, so I want to get into something.
Okay.
So into that, you talk about some of the important people in your life, the influential people. And so I want to bring up, a name.
Okay.
Let's talk about Al Collins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So when did you meet Al?
I'm a little kid. I got the older brother. They played together, so I think I remember seeing some like old school. We used to have the old school tapes. Mom was big on recording stuff, and we get to see. I forgot what kind of camera it was. We had to like hook it up, and she had the big screen. We'd play it, but like we'd have some tapes of like. I just remember seeing as a kid. I think I was like 6 maybe at the YMCA, or 5 or 6. Just like swinging on some little bars, and then he was practicing. So, and that's when he was with Al. So that was probably my first interaction with Al. Don't really know too much, but obviously first grade, so maybe 2 years if I was 5. I mean, I kind of remember going to practice. And my mom would always tell me, I was still dribbling the basketball in between practices and, doing all that stuff with the basketball. But mainly my object was to play and run around. But so I met Al probably around, like basketball-wise, like when I remember like going to practice when I was like first grade.
Okay. All right. So now, let's talk about the famous drills. Let's talk about the famous drills.
Yeah.
Because one thing that anybody that has ever been to Al Collins practice with you talks about the drills that you have to know. So talk about that part. And I'm talking about it for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm talking about it because one, I want the amount of work and preparation to come out that you've been through.
Yeah.
But two, I also want our audience to understand the amount of work that it takes to play at a certain level and to be at a certain level. And it's not something that just happens overnight.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mom, I know you're over there right now. What was it, 4? How many times we practice a week with Al? All right, 4. All right, so, you think about today's game, most teams from that caliber, they want to practice. And how long are we going? Because I don't even know. 2 hours, okay. So that's 8 hours a week right there. So that we're getting. And most programs now, they want to practice 2 hours, maybe 3 hours a week, 2 practices a week. So, you're getting way less time. So, so we're fortunate enough that, Al drilled us. He drilled us. And when you talk about the drills, it was just, we always had our warm up, and, it's funny, I'm like, geez, man, I need to get back to this. Because first thing we did is everybody had to be able to walk between your legs all the way around the court. So it's just real. And we do this at the start of every practice. So there's some guys that would come in and they couldn't do it. 2 months, now they're walking all the way around. You could see the progression in not only your own self, but others. You see the guy that comes into the program who can't dribble the ball to now he can do the moves or he can do certain things. So we would do that, and then we would kind of work through all the moves, crossovers between the legs, behind the back, and then we just zigzag all the way around the court. That was our warm up. Everybody knew. It was just you just knew what to do, and that's you could kind of tell who's been working. Right. You say I can tell who's been working and who hasn't been right through here. So that was kind of his evaluation every practice. And then as you got advanced, he would maybe you'd do 2 crossovers and another move. So he would advance it, and then some of his drills were just I credit all my I'm not afraid to credit all of my game to Al as far as the fundamentals and the development of my game. I do that. I make sure everybody, I tell them it's Al. He drilled us with those drills. It's every day. Like boom, 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 boom. And he let us play to an extent to where no other coaches did at that time. He taught us do a one-hand pass, do a behind-the-back pass, throw that no-look pass, be flashy, shoot it from NBA range. I don't care. Now, I mean, that's what he taught us. So he taught us to play free when, you know, a majority of these coaches saying, no, jump stop, pass it with two hands. We don't throw one hand. Now, you know how many times I got in trouble from coaches because I'm throwing one-hand passes, and the game has evolved. It's crazy. He was ahead of his time because the game has evolved now. Now you have all these NBA trainers, these local trainers. The game is crazy now. These trainers, they're teaching one-hand passes. They're teaching behind the back. They're teaching all of this stuff. Now, coaches are letting it fly because it's just how the game has evolved. So that's kind of my relationship with Al, just the drills that he did, the way he let you play loose. I mean, he pushed you as a coach from the drill standpoint, and I know from a fact, my game would be nowhere where it is without that second, like, when I got the ball in my hand, I mean, you know, like, it's second nature. I'm not thinking about it. It's just, it's like I'm running and dribbling.
Yeah, when Jelani, you went back to the beginning. I stood up way before he even shot. I knew what was happening. I know what's happening. I can tell by the fact. Oh, he's shooting this. He's fast. I just ISO the whole night. That's it. He's coming at the top of the key. I told him, as soon as he get close enough to the top, he got I know it. I can see it in the bounce. Yeah, he going for the win. We don't want to overtime. And we at home. Yeah.
So I credit everything to, you know, Al, and it was the drills, man. And I think that's a lost art today in the game, is that coaches want to throw. He kept it simple. It was just real simple with the drills. And, you know, coaches want to do all these crazy things today in today's game. And if you literally just go back to the basics, and now I'm talking like, geez, I need to go back to the basics and do some of these same drills with my players. So, because it's effective, it works. And, you know, he's pushed out a lot of guys. I mean, Earl Watson, who was, you know, that's a big brother to me, you know, here. You know, watching him develop through Al's program, you know, gave me motivation to want to keep going. My brother developed through Al. I mean, there's so many great players in Wyandotte County that grew up learning Al's fundamentals, and it benefited them so much.
Look, at this point, we're going to take the time to give Al some oxygen. He did a lot for a lot of players, you know what I'm saying, and coaches. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He set the bar for coaches and for players. So, you know what I'm saying, before we go to this break, please, let's give Al Collins a little round. All right, Jeff, we're going to take a quick break. Okay. We're going to get an opportunity when we come back to talk a little bit about, you know, KU. You know, we got Big Red in the house over there. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk a little bit about the time at KU and then what you're doing now moving forward. But while we take our break, we're going to bring up the lovely Nyil'a again. You know what I'm saying? For another performance. Man, she knocked that out.
Again, my name is Nyil'a. It's a pleasure to be with you guys. Before I do this next song, I'd like to tell you a little bit about it. I am with an independent label, Jackson Entertainment. So the next song I'm going to do for you is called You Can Come Home. It's a song currently that is going up the chart, the independent chart. It's number 14 right now. I just got back from Houston, and September 9th, I get to open for Charlie Wilson and the Isley Brothers. So this song is just doing some things, and if anything you can take from what I'm doing right now is never give up. Never give up on your dreams. It's never, ever, ever too late. You Can Come Home. It is on any streaming platform, Spotify, Amazon Music, you name it. Download it. You can also see the video by going to Nyil'a, Nyil'a, YouTube, and you can see the video as well. Hope you love the song. If you do, download it, support us, get behind us. Thank you. You can come home, don't you let it go. In love, you are home.
All right, so we're back, man. We just heard that lovely sing. I gotta say it right, Nyil'a. That's how you say it, Nyil'a. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying it wrong, you know, so let me stand corrected. Nyil'a. You know what I'm saying? Come back home.
L-Aside. Told me that.
Yeah, L-Aside. Okay, so it's Nyil'a. Man, wonderful song, go streaming. You know what I'm saying? Come back home.
Wait, what's that? Come back home?
Yep.
She's such a beautiful spirit and beautiful talent. Love it.
Man.
Love it. Yeah.
So, Jeff, we got a little more time with you, man. I would, you know, I'll be here talking to you for a couple of minutes. But I got to get to, you know, which is my second favorite segment. You know, it is the post-secondary, you know, career, you know, family life. Mm-hmm. You know why it's my second favorite? Mm-hmm. First is, you know, fun questions because I love that.
Yeah.
But this is my second favorite. You know why? Because I'm rolling with the truth. And this is sponsored, you know, in part by Truth to Power. You see what I'm saying? Now, once again, I just want, let me get in the picture. She stood up. Let me get in the picture. Let me get in here. This is straight out the vault. This is out the truth vault. You know what I'm saying? Like, see the dilly over there? You see the dilly right there? You know what I'm saying? With the dilly, you know what I'm saying? It ain't out yet. It's out the vault. If you like it, you know what I'm saying? Put a comment there. Tell truthtoreason.com. Go hit them up. Tell them you want to see this joint.
Got me feeling
Right.
I'm gonna drop it
My
down.
man, Roger, man, appreciate you, man. Hey,
Like that.
you know, man, she back with you. I'm glad you didn't have a banana on the
I don't like that.
Don't like that. I'm just trying to, you know, I'm just repping.
Nah, I feel you, man, because guess what? I got time this week, though, man. I'm pulling up on ride.
And she always wanna, you know, try to gangster up on my people and
But that's
stuff.
not what
Yeah.
it is. Don't
She
make
be
me answer.
rolling up on my people, you know, the angry black woman rolling up on my people. You know what that's? Raj, you and I know. You see what I'm saying? Out the clock. All right, let's go. This is that segment. So let's, we're talking a little bit about moving. We just finished up talking about, you know, how you got the fundamentals with that. We're going to talk a little bit about coming in as a freshman, you know, at Sumner Academy. And you were a part of history. You're a part of history a couple ways. Let's talk just a little bit about Sumner before we move from there. You're a part of history. A lot of people don't realize this. But you were a part of the first state championship for Sumner Academy. The first one, that under the Sumner Academy name.
Yeah.
You on that team.
Why did you not know,
Well,
Jeff?
yeah, I mean, because the Spartans had one, and I know
The
you
Spartans
know,
had one. This
what
is
was
Sumner
it?
Academy. They
You know,
had
yeah.
seven.
So we were kind of like banking off of it, you know. I
Yeah.
think before we won it in '98. I don't know when it was. Was it '90? Was it '78?
When they
20 plus. I know
yeah,
the whole
it was 20,
thing.
yeah,
You know,
it
it
was
was 20 plus. They were just like that was our thing. Like
Yeah.
this hadn't been done in 20 years.
Right.
So I'm just thinking like, oh, let's
Right.
do it.
Now,
Right, let's do it.
history is
So-
not the first, but for
But
some
for
of
that,
Academy,
yeah. So like when you said it that way, I never heard it that way.
yeah.
But I like it that way.
You like
Yeah,
that?
I
Right.
First, I'll take
Yeah.
that. History,
Yeah.
okay.
Take that. So one thing I remember, well, you tell me this. Now, this I'm gonna ask you this. You might want to get to it. You played for a Hall of Fame coach of several in high school. Played for a Hall of Fame coach. Give me your best Springs memory.
Shoot. Blockhead.
I knew that was coming.
Blockhead.
Oh man,
That sums it up right
That
there.
sums it up right there.
And that means if you got called a blockhead, that means your head. I mean, I never thought about it. Just I guess now I'm thinking about like your head is a block and got nothing else in it because you just made the dumbest play in the world. Like,
You wasn't thinking. That's what
You wasn't
it was not thinking.
blockhead.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Blockhead.
Yeah. Now,
What are you doing? Blockhead.
now, let me ask you this. Give me your best Springs impersonation. Give me your best Springs impersonation.
Stand
Stand up, please. Stand up, please.
that to my players. What? That's funny.
Yeah. Hey, we all knew that. If that got you, I'm telling you, I got quiet over there. Dude,
Actually, to be honest, though, man, you know it. He was probably doing this and calling you a blockhead.
Together. That's too funny right there. Now, tell me what you took away from Spring.
You know, to me it was just like, man, it's just so much, you know, like his preparation, you know, he always had us prepared, you know, for every battle. And, you know, that was just for our practices. Like, Ben and I were just talking, like, our practices, we play harder. Sometimes, I mean, we feel like we sometimes play harder than we did in the game. Sometimes in practice, because it was, he let us go. He let us go in practice, but it made us who we were. But for me, it was like his preparation was getting us ready for the games. And, I mean, things like, you know, we talked about joking around, you know, calling us a blockhead. But, you know, for the most part, you know, coaches have to get one of the players to hold him accountable, as he did. But, you know, you talk about that love. Like, if you ask me, do you think Coach Springs loved all his players? I say, yeah. Because he called everybody a blockhead. He didn't pick. Everybody got called a blockhead. And he showed that he loved you, and I think it was his preparation, just, you know, that coach that cares. I mean, I always take that from him, and you know, I probably need to do a better job of reaching out with him. And you know, with my success that I've been able to have at Pembroke Hill as a coach, you know, I've talked to him, I've called him, and I let him know, I'm sorry, man. That's what I say. I apologize to him when I first got the job. Like, hey, man, I'm sorry, man. Like, geez, like, I'm sorry for everything I did, because I was probably tough to deal with as a player, you being a coach. And you know, he laughed because, like, man, I got a couple guys like that I'm coaching. And he's like, there you go, it's coming back to you. And he's like, but, you know, it's always good to connect with him and just know, because he is a Hall of Fame coach. And I've just been blessed to get coached by, I tell everybody, like, Hall of Fame coaches. And it started out at my high school. So I've been blessed to have great mentors, great coaches, and not everybody.
You said it started out when you started that first practice with Gordon James. He may not have gotten to Al Collins in the Hall of Fame. For sure. For what he's doing. Yeah, for what he's doing to the game, and obviously, you know, most of these guys, without Al, they wouldn't have the fundamentals that they had. Right. That they had. You know, he just taught second nature tendencies, and to where you don't have to think, you just play. So he's definitely, to me, a Hall of Fame coach. I don't know if anybody ever asked you this, but I want to ask. I've seen both of them. I want to ask you, what's the difference in 98 and 2000? What's the difference?
Oh, sheesh. So you saying like who would win?
I was going to ask you that next. You went straight to that. But I'll first ask you, what's the difference? You won a championship in 98, then won in 2002, and it's a different team.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, what was the difference? What are the differences in winning those championships? Do you remember what the difference was?
Like, the difference for me that first year, you know, I was just a young freshman being carried by upperclassmen. Like, I did my part, you know, but I didn't do nothing, man. Like, I was Keelan, Tony, Kevin, all those dudes. I'm like, hey, I'm just sitting in the corner and they drawing all the defense and they throwing it to me and I'm hitting threes and everybody's thinking that I'm doing all this stuff when it's those guys. So I would say for that freshman year would be just like I was just soaking everything up, like learning from great leaders. So I had a chance to learn from great leaders, and I think from the 2001 championship, it was kind of my chance to try to be a leader. So I'll go from the following stages to being a leader. So I think that was kind of the difference. But if you talk about personnel, we can get into all that. Like,
who will win? I put that out. Who wins? 98. Who wins, man? We put it out right here on this show. Who wins?
That 98 team was different.
Was different?
Now, I probably want to say, I don't know, because, you know, when we won in my junior year, I had more of a leadership role, so I'll say, I want to go with these guys. Like, you got this? That's y'all squad?
Yeah.
Well, let me see if I can go get 50.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Something
yeah.
like that. So, but that 98 squad, though, they try to throw a Keelan on me. That 90, I'll probably say that 98 squad was, man, that 98 squad was tough.
Drake,
That 98
Walker.
I would have to say the 98
Porter. It's a lot. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm asking this all in football. You know what I'm saying? Being a part of both of them, I love it. But I think that it was tremendous talent on both teams. You know what I'm saying? And you just making a joke back and forth, but I think each team had their own niche.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like 98, in my opinion, it was a team full of hungry, you know, and I'm saying this not in a bad way, they were a team. It was a team full of hungry individual stars. Like each one of those were a star in his right. I'm not taking nothing from the other team. But the other team was more of a family. The other team was more for like hung out together. Was together, did things together, you know, not just in practice, you know what I'm saying, like they were eating together, house together still. So that, to me, that's the difference. Is like, yo, this was just like a team full of studs, you know what I'm saying, that was hungry and boom.
come together.
This was like a hungry team of flings. They had talent, no doubt, not taking no talent away from them. That's, to me, was the biggest difference that, you know what I'm saying, was to me.
Interesting to point out.
And you know, but I think the common thing with both of them is, like, they all play together as a team.
Yes.
That's different, like you said, that was a great comparison, but like, at the end, it's funny how it works because we all liked each other and all played together as a team. Like you said, that 01 team was
fan.
we were everywhere.
Keelan made it a team.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? As the leader.
The
The leader was unselfish. And the leader said in the first game, I don't know if you ever remember, me and Keelan, we had two arguments in our whole life. And the first argument was the very first game, he had 21 points in the first quarter, and then he stopped shooting the next quarter. And we had it out. I said, man, you're supposed to have 50. Why would you stop shooting? You made, you know what I'm saying, 6 threes in the first quarter, and now you pass the ball, hey, nobody, what are you doing? And he said, I know, but I need them down the road. And I need them to have confidence, and I need for them to not look at me that way. It's the first game. It'd be different if it was game 15. It'd be different if we was losing.
Yeah.
But we blowing them out. And I said, well, you think different. Like, it was a different line. And so it came from the leader. And so the chemistry in the team came from the leader, the man. Everybody knew he was the leader. It came from him being unselfish and him making sure everybody. But the other team, they were just all fans. So they was all unselfish anyway. You know what I mean? It was all, it was just different. So to me, that's the difference.
Yeah, that's spot on.
Yeah.
Keelan was that dude, man. Like, Keelan broke some rules for me too, freshman year.
Yeah.
You know, freshman, I said all the way at the front.
Yeah.
I thought I was like hot stuff. Like, the first time it was after the Blue Valley tournament, I think I hit some all them threes, and then we kind of won that tournament. But then it was like the next road trip we had, he was like, hey, you come sit back here.
Sit in the back.
I said, first we were supposed to sit up here.
Sit up here.
And he didn't let me get all the way in the back.
But you still wasn't you got my shit.
You know, it's a couple of sophomores. Like, I'm like, hey, sorry, man. They told me I got to be in the back. Man. Sorry.
That was a rule.
But like, you think about it, like, that's the leader of your shit.
Yeah.
Because he could have been like, man, sit up there, but he was just like, man, like, you just talked about it. I'm gonna need these guys down the stretch. So he thought he was playing chess and thinking ahead, dude. So
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Jeff, let's talk quickly, man, and wrap this up.
Okay.
We're gonna talk a little bit about career, you know. So you at KU, and I don't want to negate a lot of things, but I just want to talk about a little adversity. So you're at KU, and you had some some adversity in your senior year. You know, how did you get through that?
For one, I would think the first thing, like, anytime I get in any situation where, you know, it's adverse, you know, it's that family atmosphere. For one, that's, to me, that's right where I go to. Gather my thoughts, figure out my next moves. But then, you know, it's, you know, once you kind of talk to family, because sometimes when you get adverse situations, you know, you don't like those situations. It makes you uncomfortable. You might be put in a situation you don't like. So, you know, being able to talk it out, you know, with family members, or not only family members, but someone that you trust, that has your best interest, I think that really helps out. And then for me, it's just, you know, that same feeling, like when you get knocked down, like, get up. Whatever's get thrown at you, if you make mistakes, you know, you have to still be able to believe in yourself and know that there's good in yourself, and be able to attack whatever issue that is with your chin up. You know, with your chin up. You know, it's the same thing when I'm coaching. I tell my players, you know, when we lose, we win with dignity, we lose with dignity. So if we're winning and our heads up, you know, when we lose, I'm not saying we need to cheer, but we need to keep our head up. We don't put our head down. So it's that same thing when you hit an adverse situation, and, you know, kids just need to understand they're going to make mistakes. You know, you're not going to be perfect, but it's what do you do and how do you respond to those mistakes you make, you know? You know, are you going to continue to make those mistakes, put your head down, or are you going to lift your chin up and figure out how can I get through this? And that's kind of how I attack any situation. There's obviously been times where things didn't go my way, and I know things that they're not going to go my way. I know I'm going to be tested by God each and every day. I know that's going to happen. So I need to wake up every morning and know that my day could be pretty much crap all day. And I need to know I need to be able to stand tall and get through it. As long as I can breathe and continue to move, there's no excuse for me to put my head down and say I can't do it. So when any adverse situation hits me, I look at it as an opportunity.
Because
it is.
Failure is an opportunity.
It is. You know, some of the greatest leaders, some of the millionaires, billionaires, they all fail. They've all failed. No one in this life will just continue to progress in life with no failures without having to, you know, go through adverse situations. But the ones that continue to prevail are the ones that can get knocked down, get back up, the ones that can come to their senses the fastest. So when I hit an adverse situation, you know, I think from a lot of people that I've kind of dealt with, they don't go, when an adverse situation happens, they don't go look in the mirror.
Yeah.
They go talk to a friend and complain, and their friend pumps them up, but they don't go look in the mirror and say, what's the real truth? It's just me and you right here. And I do that. I do that. I will get on myself. I will tell myself, it does.
That hurts sometimes.
Because I can't rely on somebody else to do it. I love when people criticize me. Constructive criticism, whether they're just being mean. I mean, I love it. I love that hate. It drives me, because when someone says something negative, I look at it. Let me read it. Is it true? Is there anything true about it? Is there anything true about it? If there's something true about it, I need to be willing to accept and to keep saying that and not get defensive, or I need to make a quick change. And that's so when I see an adverse situation, I have to judge all that really quick to see how I can move forward with it. So that's kind of how I attack adverse situation. It's pretty much look at myself in the mirror and say, is there anything I'm doing wrong? It might hurt. He said that it hurts. I don't want to hear it.
You sound like you've been listening to the truth.
But it's the truth. Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. You got to be real with yourself. And so many people aren't real with themselves. Like, go look yourself in the mirror. Now, there's some areas in my life where I probably am not true to myself. I call a friend and I need that affirmation. I know my wife hears it all the time. She knows when I want her to try to agree with me, and sometimes she'll agree with me, and most of the time she won't. Yeah. But I'm just looking for that when I'm complaining, somebody to hop on my boat, when I just need to go look in the mirror and say, dude, keep it real with me, right? It's just me.
It's refreshing to hear you say that, though, because I've found that one of the most dangerous people to be around is someone who is unaware of themselves. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you can't look yourself in the mirror, then you're a lost cause.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully you are. So it's power in owning your stuff.
Yes, you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to. That's a great point. You have to be able to own.
Good or bad.
Yeah, what you do.
Yeah.
Control what you can control. And most people that live their lives, they kind of control their life to a certain degree. You can't control kind of what blessings you get. I mean, some of that stuff you can build relationships and do some things to help the blessings come as far as the work that you put in before, but no one knows tomorrow. 5 minutes is, promise. So, you have to have that strong mindset.
So, I know we got to move because we're pressing with some of the time. We're going to be very time. A couple more things now. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this part of that too. You're going through this adversity during that season. But at the same time, you were mentoring a young bull like Mario Chalmers.
Yeah.
Like, how does that play out? How does that go? Because 90% of the time, a senior or an older person going through adversity and then a younger person, it's time to mentor and I ain't trying to do it. You know what I mean? So, let's talk a little bit about that.
It just kind of, goes back to, kind of how I live my life. Give more to others than you give to yourself. Think more for others than you think of yourself. However you want to translate it. And, that was a situation where I could have been. I could have been selfish, but at the end of the day, I'm a winner. I want to win. And, he was just at a time where he was kind of indecisive on what he wanted to do at KU. And at the time I was starting, kind of kicking his butt in practice, he knows. And he was just struggling. And that was about the time when we were playing Kentucky. It's a big game. It's televised nationally, so that's a big game for us. It will be for Mario. I have his starting spot. He's a McDonald's All-American. Everybody's wondering, probably why he should be starting. But at the time, I was just making it as rough and tough on him as I could. I knew at the end of the day, Mario's the guy. But I knew the system. I knew at the end of the day, he would eventually come. And at that time, I was still kicking his butt, not playing him. And I had a talk with Coach right after our shoot around before we played Kentucky, and this was the night before Mario wanted to meet with me. And I'm kicking his spot. I'm not giving it to him. I'm like, I like this starting spot right now.
Yeah.
But the team flowed better with him when he was in because he was just a fearless player, as I was too. But he was just fearless in a different way. But he wanted to meet with me the night before, and he was just like, I'm done. I want to transfer. I'm out. So I'm just like, nah, man, you good. I know what I've been doing to him, like picking him up full. And I'm like, I want him. I'm like, hey, you good, man. Like, just tick through it, coaches. This is what coach is doing, man. He just testing you, all this other stuff. And then the next day comes, and we have our shoot around like we do. We're doing our scout report, and then the next day we play Kentucky. It was like a noon. It was an early game, and so we're having our scout report the day before. We have it again the day of, and the day before I just kind of went to him, or it might have been the day of. But went to Coach Self, and he'll tell you the story. Just kind of told him, I think it's a young dude's turn. I'll come off the bench. I'll come off the bench. I'll be the sixth man. I grew up in that. I said grew up. I grew up in the Kansas basketball system, kind of coming off the bench, being that sixth man, and I love that role. Like I always sat in the bench. I just sit and just analyze the game and be like, all right, who am I coming in? Like, and I paid attention to scouting report. I'm like, I'm just ready. And my name calls out goes in, so I'm like, I know that feeling. Coming off the bench doesn't hurt me. My mom always told me growing up. I remember I got my starting spot taken when I was a young kid. Went crying to her. She said, "Don't come crying to me. If you want your spot back, go get it." So I'm in that mindset. So I'm sixth man. Like, okay, that's cool. Like, I'm fine with having to take a step back because I've been in this role. Actually, like the role. I actually like not starting. Because she said, doesn't matter who starts. My mom would say that. Doesn't matter who starts. Matters who finishes the game. So I'm like, okay. And, when the crunch time came in the games, I'd be in the game. So I'm like, I don't care. Starting is just get your name called out. I got that experience. Now let's win games. Let's develop. Let's try to get better. and just, told coach, it's time for the young buck. Memorial got his start against Kentucky that day and played his butt off. And, I really kind of think that was just like, that was the spring of his career. He never looked back. He never looked back after that moment. And you just watch him how he always played fearless. He just wasn't getting it right. And I think when he got that starting spot, it just, still to this day, he's still competing in the big three, the big shots.
Yeah.
So, he's an unbelievable friend. We talk a lot throughout the year. Our kids play together, but he's a great friend. Just one of those moments where he needed it.
Yeah.
He needed it. I could have selfishly kept it, but he was the guy for that. So that's kind of that story. It doesn't get told too much. Coach Self likes to tell it. I really don't tell that story too much because it's not about that. Mario's mentioned it in his retirement speech, but that's just our friendship, and that's just kind of who I am. Give more to others. I could have selfishly said, I'm keeping this. Nah, I'm not saying nothing, coach.
Yeah.
Beat me out. Well, I was taking advantage of the system. I knew he couldn't beat me out because he had to get stronger, mentally, all these other things. So I feel like, that he needed that. And I was an old head. I'm an old man. Like, it's my turn. Pass it off to the younger guys that can go really do some damage with this. So, like healing, just those little things help me to make a decision like that and not be selfishly making a decision to where I can say, man, this next guy is something that we're all a family.
Yeah.
You get all the time, which you make the big shot.
Yeah.
You get all the
We
shot.
all get it.
We all good.
Yeah.
We all feeling good.
We all feeling
shit
good.
like they won it last year.
Yeah.
I'm celebrating like I was on the team. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. So that's kind of Memorial Chalmers
Okay.
story to start at the time. Yeah. So.
Good stuff. That's something we wanted to come out with, that selfishness, that ability to do more for others.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. So I'm going to end that part there, and we're going to finish our last part and get up out of here. I'm taking it back when we get it out of here. This is something that I'm
got
giving y'all.
man.
Some of these, sometimes, like I get some of these people here, like I have a relationship with them, and we don't get to just sit down and talk, you know what I mean? And now, but even then we're talking, we're not getting these stories out. Like we're talking about something else and go, this is how we going down memory lane and everything. So I can keep going, but we're gonna get out of here. I know. You see, telling family, I ain't gonna listen. I thought we was a team.
I'm here
So, this is the end. If you don't mind, please give us you'll come in with me, man, and give an opportunity to give Jeff Hawkins one more round of oxygen for us again. Jeff, man, I hope you understand what you mean to our community, you know what I'm saying, to Sumner family, you know what I'm saying, to Wyandotte County. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's good. We end our show by asking a couple things. One is, what would you do or say if you had the attention of the whole world for 20 seconds? Now, I don't want you to tell us. What I want you to do is look into the camera, and then you got 20 seconds. Yeah. What would you say?
The biggest thing I say is, love. Love more. Give your heart more. Always have an open heart. And the biggest thing is, give to others more than you give to yourself. If we can all do that, the world will be a better place. The youth will grow. And that's what I have to say.
I like that, man. I love it. I thought you were sitting there and bring your kids to Pembroke, dog.
Anybody six that?
Come on out. Man, listen. We appreciate you for coming. We appreciate you all for being, part with us. You know what I'm saying? We love y'all. You know what I'm saying? We thank you. don't miss next week, man. We got another episode coming. Next week we have the Unified Government Mayor, Tyrone Gardner, will be on the show. We have him, and then we have a musical guest, Maya Duck. So, yeah.
That's gonna be a nice show.
So it will be. So we appreciate that.
Tune in for that.
Man, please
This
do.
mic said to pull up.
Do that. You know what I'm saying? Can't forget DJ Jen Rich.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you being in the house. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much. I am Coach Mo.
I'm real today.
You know,
Yes.
and together we are culture keepers.
Keepers.
All right. Once again, we love you,
Yeah, we appreciate you.
and we thank you for coming on in. We don't want to forget again, just to make sure that you don't forget that we are here at the Elegant 1739 Gallery on the corner of 18th and Walnut in Kansas City, Missouri.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday we are here. So we appreciate you guys for coming out. And